Welcome to the Purpose Podcast, where we help business owners and others live with intention. I'm Gordon, I'm your host, and I am so excited today because we have a very special episode. Not only do we have a wonderful guest in Mike Patnesky from Wow, One Day Painting, we have back the creator, the originator of the Purpose Podcast, Adam Gross. Welcome back, Adam.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
It's an honor to be here with you guys.
Adam.
Yeah, and Mike, not to overshadow you at all, because we are so excited to talk
It's a celebration.
with you. It's a celebration. This is a very good episode.
Awesome.
So welcome back. Welcome to the pod. We're so excited to have you. The way we typically start this, we do want to get to know Mike a little bit. So Mike, why don't you take the chance to just kind of let us know who you are, what you do, what Wow One Day Painting is, and then we're just going to start prodding at you. You know, just
Sounds like a plan.
Perfect.
So, my name is Mike Patnesky. A little bit about myself. I have been in the Raleigh area for 34 years now. So I'm actually
longer than 98% of people here.
I'm a native now.
Right?
Basically.
Not from here. Originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh.
But have lived many different places. Cool. Started out my career post-college in the pharmaceutical industry and actually did that for 34 years.
Really?
32 years.
That's a long time.
I was a jack of one trade. Within pharma, I did a lot of things. On the commercial side,
Like the manufacturing,
sales and marketing, cool. Internally and externally, and got caught up in the economic downturn of the late 2008, 2009. Weathered a few corporate downsizings and didn't weather the last one. Found myself out of a job,
for sure.
Which was really alien to me, and spent the next few years working still within the industry, mainly contracts, things like that, and it was kind of like a revolving door. Contracts, the way it works is it usually lasts a year, and then you're out of a job again, and you have to do another contract, and you still have to apply for it, interview for it, all that stuff.
It's kind of brutal, it sounds like.
It's very brutal, and honestly, along the way, I got older.
You did?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Some people do. Yeah.
What happens there?
And so, I actually kind of followed the path of my father, who was also in the hospital administration side. Found himself out of a job at the age of 60.
Wow.
And went into the franchising business.
Interesting.
He did companion care, kind of like Frank, what Frank has, but a different company. Did that up in Virginia. And so along the way, I was watch him and see what that was all about. Became interested in that, And then actually got tired of the revolving door of contracts and said, you know what, I've always wanted to go into business for myself. It's always been kind of conveniently placed on the back burner. And I said, well, I've got to do it now, or it's now or never. So I embarked on a 2-year odyssey of just vetting, looking at different business models, different companies. Had the support of a friend of mine who actually is a neighbor and a friend who worked for the same company Dan works for. So he kind of took me under his wing, guided me in how to vet and look at franchise models and different businesses. And like I said, I spent 2 years going from maybe 24 companies, potential companies, whittled it all the way down to 3, this being one of them, Wow One Day. And what really got me interested in the Wow model, because, I didn't come from painting, but like everybody on the planet, I painted before.
Sure.
What really
reluctantly, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm about to paint a nursery.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I understand. And so what really interested me about Wow One Day Painting is they're very steeped into marketing as a catalyst to grow a business.
Sure. Lead gen is important to them.
Lead generation, digital marketing, all the stuff that I pay for,
right.
And behind the scenes
that
stuff.
In theory, a franchise should be able to deliver as one of their primary services, correct?
Absolutely.
That's a main benefit, right, when you're purchasing the franchise?
Is that and the back-end support that because relative to everybody else I looked at, they were really the ones that showed, even once you come on board and buy your franchise, they're hand in hand with you the whole way. Even to this day, I've been doing it for 5 years, and I still have an advisor that's assigned to me that kind of coaches me.
That's cool.
Will come out in the field. We're a Canadian company, but they'll come out in the field with me and just kind of.
And I'm sure they're just so nice, aren't they? Those Canadians are so nice.
Yeah,
actually,
they are. I'm serious.
Very.
They're so nice.
Yeah, and it's a running joke.
I feel like I'm nice. I'm not nice.
No, you are.
Compared to Canadians,
no,
not even close.
There are.
It's because it's so cold. They just spend a
skits
lot of time inside.
That must
together.
Be they see each other
There's no
every
choice.
day inside.
Yeah, they can't be
3 feet.
mean.
So you're probably right. That's
Yeah.
a good way to look at that. But
And then they're so excited for that 2 months of summer. It really is.
Yeah.
Right.
I digress.
Nice, actually. Good vacation.
It's like,
spot.
if you ever been to Minneapolis? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Basically Canada.
So that really
help you.
intrigued me about WOW, so I eventually pulled the trigger. Like I said, we're a Canadian company, but all across North America, we have as a system, have about 90 franchises across U.S. and Canada. And actually I was the first one in the Triangle, second one in North Carolina. We now have 5 in North Carolina, 6 in North Carolina, 3 of them in the Triangle.
Oh, wow, okay.
So we are actually the most concentrated metropolitan area in terms of footprints of the franchise. And as you might expect, when they invest in a geography for a franchise, they're looking at business models and the business forecasts and things like that. And Raleigh-Durham is like a booming, as we all know, area for business, even though Apple bugged out yesterday, apparently. But
we'll see.
But anyway, it's a very desirable location. So we have 3 in the area, pretty much covering the entire Triangle. And like I said, we're the most concentrated. We're one on top of one another. The good news is we're all friends with one another. Actually, one of them, I talked him into buying the franchise for Durham, Chapel Hill.
Oh, wow.
The other guy...
You knew previously?
I worked with him
cool.
for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Same
In
company,
the pharmaceutical company?
In the same company. We were actually counterparts at one time.
What?
Out in the field.
My question was going to be,
managers.
when you were making the transition, were you open about it publicly to people, that you were thinking about business ownership, that you were thinking about making an exit?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
To your friend now, to the guy who then bought
He was actually, at the time, he suffered the same fate that I did. I mean, like a lot of people did. Out of a job, middle age. What do I do? He wanted to go, just like me, he wanted to go into business, but he was actually looking at purchasing an existing company called CertaPro. You probably heard of them, a painting company in Durham, and was going down that road and ended up, I won't go into the details, but backed away from them and kind of leaned on me for my experiences so far. I was only a year into this. What do you think? Type of thing. And so over time he said, well, you know what, I'm gonna go for it.
I'm gonna get in the painting business, but in a different way.
In a different geography. So we're basically aligned by we have a territory. It's aligned by zip codes, and so he has Durham, Chapel Hill, Hillsborough, that area. Our newest guy, Mark Armstrong, came on about 2 years ago, and he's completed the picture. We have the luxury of being so close geographically to one another. We're able to share employees.
Nice.
We can, if one of us is not busy, the other one is, and vice versa.
Got a
we
guy
can
that's in sick
keep
today,
them
needs
busy.
some help. Yep.
Absolutely. So that's
really
good.
cool.
And then the combined marketing stretches our dollar a lot. Our marketing budget. Because if you market in Raleigh, you're marketing in Durham, and people don't stay in your territory.
Oh, yeah.
They're going all around the Triangle. So, A little bit about WOW. WOW is a unique in the contractor world business model in that it really focuses on speed and quality to attain a very high level customer centric experience with painting. There's a lot around that, and we
it means you're not the cheapest.
We're not the cheapest,
but
we have to deliver.
But you're going to do
the bar is
work.
high
Right.
with us, and so there's a lot that we do, and things like communication. You think you take that for granted, but unfortunately, in the contractor world, sometimes that lacks a lot.
Just had 2 bathrooms remodeled, and I really liked the company. The work is good, but the communication was the one thing. Even when he was trying hard,
right.
It's just like, man,
It's
I need
so
to know
important.
if like people are in my shower right now. Like,
right.
I walk into my house and there's like 4 guys, and it's like,
I was not expecting that.
I mean, in some respects, the bar is kind of low. And that's one of the reasons I went into this because, I'm a customer too.
Yeah.
I've experienced hiring contractors, saw all the bad things that they did and just said, you know what, these are easy to correct. An example is be on time, be early.
Yes.
Any appointment, be there 10. And my policy is for myself, 10 minutes early.
Yeah, like how you said
Every
for myself.
appointment. If I'm not, I call or text or whatever the customer and say, hey, look, because life happens, something,
Sure.
a wreck, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I really pride myself in doing that. I get a lot of comments because they're not expecting you to be on time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when you do, it's kind of, that's part of the deliverables that we bring is, on time, communication, front and center with the customer, setting expectations, being there, providing updates during a long job, and that means if they're at work, taking progress pictures, texting it to them,
nice.
Things like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll uphold just those 2 words at the beginning, the speed and quality.
Right.
One of the first things that I learned through this group, actually, with Bobby McGrath, she was telling me, Adam, what are 2 words to describe your business? And even when I was building the Quick and Clean Market, that was what I was being taught is just pick 2 words that describe the whole. If you were to describe the whole business in 2 words, what would it be? And speed and quality. And when you said it, immediately my mind goes speed plus quality equals wow, because that's your slogan.
That is the slogan, and that's that's our deliverable.
And what an amazing marketing message, because it's simple, clear, and then now you're talking about all the standards that uphold the message, which for anyone who's building a company, that's like the foundation of marketing to me, from what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think. And the model is one day painting. The reality is there's so many factors that make it not one day. I mean, if it's so broad in scope that our model's achieved really with a simple mathematical formula. We go in, do an estimate based on whatever they want us to paint, punch everything into our program, and ultimately it spits out the number of hours it would take one painter to paint this job, whatever it is, in one day. Oh. So let's say it's 100 hours, just hypothetically.
Yeah.
Simple math means that if it's 100 hours for one person, it's 50 hours to get it done in one day for 2 people, 33 1/3 hours to get it done in one day for 3 people, 25 hours, just do the math. Yeah. The issue becomes, if it's so broad in scope in terms of the number of hours, especially for interior jobs, it might mean mathematically I need to bring 30 people into your house to do this all in one day. That's not good. There's a point of diminishing returns.
For both the business and the customer.
Right. And the reality is when I explain this to customers, they prefer you not do it in one, because what that means is we're going to be rushing it. We're going to be making mistakes, and you just don't want that. So there's no pushback. I've never had pushback about if the job is so, like if we were painting this entire building, it's not one day.
No.
But what we do promise, and what I do as a business owner for my business is I promise, because this was done to me, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it is, it will be in successive days. In other words, unfortunately, this happens in contracting world. They'll start a job, say, on Monday, and due to their poor scheduling, okay, I'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that 4-day job becomes a whole summer, because they're staggering everything and haven't scheduled really. So, knock wood, I have never broken that. if it takes,
you make it a success at their job. And that seems huge, honestly.
Even if it means, I've got people that will work on the week. I mean, I don't like working on the weekends, but if we need to satisfy the customer,
but
we'll
I guess,
do that.
like you mentioned earlier, the power of WOW is that you have multiple franchisors in this area.
Right.
You share employees, you can work together.
We co-market, we do, pretty much everything. We're lockstep because we're not competing with one another, technically. So it works out very well. I mean, having a concentration so dense of our footprints is very beneficial for all of us. I always tease them. I was the first one here, so I had the joy of building brand awareness from the start. Yeah. And now they're coming in, and because like I said, it's such a small area. It's the brand awareness has escalated with them, but it was already past square one.
So you've been doing sales a long time then, and obviously I've known you for years now in this group, and it seems like you've really put the work in. We've talked about yard signs. You've done all kinds of things. Has your sales background been effective for you in building WOW?
I think so, and I also was in marketing as well, not just sales. So, and again, like I said earlier, that's one of the things that appealed to me about this company is they really lean on ground level and digital, all the levels of marketing to as a catalyst to shepherd your growth curve. And so, I think, my experience is, because it's the same no matter what industry, really. Yeah. Reach and frequency is what you want. So,
but now you've gone from kind of a larger level. Were your old jobs kind of a national scale or like a regional scale, and then this is a very much a local service business? Which,
it was broader than just that it is now, but it was still not.
More localized.
More localized, but regionalized mainly.
Gotcha.
But a lot of similarities. Even, when I was in the corporate world, I was also, one of my big roles was recruiting and hiring and, people. It's the same in this world. It's two different types of employees, but just like in the, when I was in corporate world, people are the most challenging, yet the most important part of any business. I think any business. You've got to have the right people in place.
That's right.
That's been a little challenging, especially during COVID, when, quite frankly, I had entry-level people that were enabled to just quit their job and go home and live, you know. Yeah. That really was a sucker punch for a brief time.
Nobody needs your job.
Right. Exactly.
That's tough.
Yeah. So I have actually a hybrid employment model where I have a group of W-2 inline employees. Then I also have access, along with my counterparts, to like half a dozen subcontractor groups that we've actually over the years vetted, because they're good ones and they're bad ones out there. So we've vetted these and landed on them as people we can lean on, and we keep them busy between the three of us, and we know what to expect from them. They'll follow our rules, and so it works out really well. Yeah. Having that flexibility.
I love this business model. It's a really solid business model, and so WOW in Canada, that's never a problem. You feel like you have the support from them
absolutely. That was one of the biggest highlights of me going to WOW.
And we've talked to a number of franchise owners here on this podcast, because there are a number of franchise owners in this networking group, probably mostly because of Dan, I'd imagine, but it seems like a really good way to go for a lot of people. Why do you feel like it was the right thing for you as opposed to starting something from complete scratch?
Yeah, creating
what kind of advice would you give to someone who is looking to potentially buy a franchise?
That's a good question.
Well, yeah, I think to me, again, I used my father as a kind of a mentor in this, and so I kind of took the same route in terms of, do I go into business you're talking about going into business for yourself versus going in a franchise model, right?
Which is, in a way, going into business for yourself.
It is, business, I mean,
you have a stakeholder that's not you.
Right. And you do have, it costs up front and it costs along the way with royalties and things like that. But it's what you get for that. It's the marketing, it's the back level support that even before WOW, that's the model I wanted to go. I didn't want to go. I wanted that, ability to have support a branding that is already out there, even though it was the first one here. But as a whole, it's
existing brand,
existing brand,
yeah.
And just the support of the other franchise partners across the whole system. We have a daily chat room. I mean, we have all kinds of where we're leveraging experiences from other people, whether it be in a chat room or just simply calling them, just, hey, I got this going on. What do you think? Especially people who've been doing a lot longer and have probably had that experience and, find out what they did to overcome it if it's some sort of problem or just advice on a new marketing tactic that you might be thinking about. And so that's just, there's comfort in that in terms of, hey, I got someone that has a vested interest in me doing well. That's from the parent company. They want us to do well because if I make money, they make money. Yeah. So that the support that brings was important to me before. And again, that's one of the key reasons I went with WOW. They seem to do it better than the other companies I was looking at the time. So
that's cool. And so obviously Purpose Networking is a networking group. Networking is important to most businesses, as we all know. We always like to capture a little bit of advice from each of our guests on networking and kind of your take on it and how it plays a role in your life, in your business, and maybe some things that you would want to share with people.
Interestingly, you bring that up because that's actually an area that I am looking to bolster with myself. I think I've come to realize that networking is probably one of the most important elements of building the business. You've got to be out there. You've got to be known. You got to be somebody who's known and trusted, and you just have to get out there. I've spent building this business the first several years just nose to the grindstone, all the different administrative and everything that outside of networking.
You're sitting in front of a computer, you're on your phone.
On the phone, in the car.
Logistics of the business.
Network kind of, I knew because they have a process, and one of them is you have to join a networking group. They want you to. They almost tell you have to.
Do they pay for it? Or?
No.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
And so because they told me, I said, I'm going to follow their model because, again, they want me to do well. And even though I don't understand it, I'm just going to do it.
Sure.
Part of that, one of the big things, just as a side note, they really push, you brought up lawn signs. Mm-hmm. When I first started, they said, you've got to go out and litter your territory with lawn signs. And littering is the wrong word. But
it's the right word. But you got to be relentless, for sure.
Honestly, at the beginning, I was skeptical. I was like, you know what? I see lawn signs all the time.
Yeah,
it doesn't impact. It doesn't do anything to me. I was using a study of one to make my my synopsis of it. But I did it anyway, and I tell you what, I became a believer immediately. When I put lawn signs out, the phone starts ringing.
Wow,
it's amazing the impact that has.
It's amazing.
And from an ROI standpoint, it's a cheap marketing tactic. I mean,
I think about it as a cost per impression.
I see a lot of yours too.
Oh, yeah, I'm relentless. And because here's the thing, Mike, it's a cost per impression. So if you think about online advertising, which you know a lot about already, you think about a $10 cost per mil, which is a cost per 1,000 impressions, essentially, right? So you're getting 1,000 impressions for $10.
Right.
So that's 10,000 or 1,000 sets of eyeballs for $10. If you think about a yard sign, the costs $10, $7, $8.
$5.
How many sets of eyeballs? If you put something on the great entry ramp of I-40 or 440,
540,
how many sets of eyeballs are seeing that? More than 1,000, I assure you. And that's the thing. I think about it as a cost per mil. And if you start thinking about yard signs that way, you're going to put up a bunch of yard signs.
Yeah.
It's just a freaking awesome idea.
Like I said, I again, at the beginning, I was a skeptic. I said, no way. Did it anyway because they told me to. And like I said, I immediately became a big believer. And I've learned all the areas of my territory that I can. And even those that I can't, I'll still do it and just, apologize later.
Yep.
I've not been fined or anything. A lot of, especially up in our Toronto area franchises, they've been around for a long time, and they're so built up that they'll still do that tactic and they do get fined. The fine
The fine's worth it.
The fine's worth it to them from a business standpoint, because of what it generates in terms of leads and potential revenue. Outweighs what the fine. Now, even in the pharma world when I was there, that was a dynamic at play, and unfortunately there were companies that would promote off-label usage for a drug of theirs. That's a big no-no.
Yeah.
But what happened for a while is they would do that and get fined, but the revenues generated as a result of that farly outweighed it. Then the FDA started making fines more insurmountable, to kind of the same, on a much lower level. There are people that will just do it and apologize later, go take the fine.
But there's my wife works in pharmaceutical marketing, and so it's such a serious deal.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like every single word, every single thing they say on every single ad, and she's in charge of like national branding for a big brand. It's like she has to look at everything, and they have all these waiver or liability stuff.
I lived that world when I was in marketing. I worked closely with DDMAC, which is the division of the FDA that deals with marketing for pharmaceuticals. It's a very stringent. And you're right. Every single character on a printed piece is.
It's it's tweets now. It's Instagram reels. It's what their influencers that they're paying are saying. It's wild.
Oh, it's a lot.
It's a lot of work.
But,
so she's very stressed.
Yeah, I bet.
I was like, glad this is not that.
We're just doing Peyton.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. We're not dealing with the health and well-being of the public.
But I think the point here is that you are a well-rounded marketing and sales professional that has also added the operational side of a business.
Yeah, but I had no choice.
Right,
yeah, exactly.
And so now you're able to sort of do a well-rounded job of this what seems to be a really good company. One Day Painting, for a service that is fairly straightforward. I love black and white, easy, straightforward services. I think that's important. It creates less stress. It creates more transparency with your customer.
Simplicity,
Again, it gets down to communication, setting expectations, no surprises. That's a big thing.
Yep.
It's sure things come along, and let's say we said, or I'll tell the customer, okay, based on everything, it looks like we're going to be done. It's a 2-day job. We'll be done start Monday morning. We'll be done by Tuesday at the end of the day. Along the way, something happens. So we find something that needs a repair or whatever it is that lengthens the job. Letting them know up front along the way, hey, we're running into this. We might go a little long, just so there are no surprises at the end. Anybody, it's human that you hate at the end of day on Tuesday. You're not done. Oh yeah, we ran into this.
Right.
Sorry.
And if you just tell them up front, 99 out of 100 people are going to say, okay, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's just being transparent. Again, that's key.
Just for the listener, like you've hit 3 things that I just want to kind of extract and share with everyone, that if you're thinking about marketing and how to grow your business, if you're in a franchising model where they do it for you, or you've created your own thing and you're trying to figure it out yourself, you said 3 things. The first thing was the 2 words at the beginning, speed and quality, that describe the whole business. Then you talked about setting expectations to uphold that standard. Then you communicate them transparently and clearly with the customers. And the last thing that you said that I don't know if you knew the weight of it is you make a promise. So you were like, I promise everyone. And then to me, I was already hooked because I was like, oh, that's great. I want to follow a leader who makes a promise, So it's really those 3 things to me that have helped the listener, I think, based on what you said. So I'm just grateful. This is like a marketing
101.
It really is.
No, marketing 301.
Yeah. It's a little more advanced.
Like I said, this company is very steeped in marketing as a catalyst for the business, and that's what attracted me to it. And I think it's, there are right ways and wrong. There's a sweet spot depending on your business, and you probably know this very well because you can spend infinity dollars.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to spend money.
Exactly.
So
I've
easy.
learned that's another thing, how you have to spend money to make money, but there has to be,
guide rails.
Guide rails. Sure. Exactly. Good term. Otherwise, it can get out of hand. And along the way, I've gotten out of hand. I've embarked on stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, but you learn. along the way, you make mistakes and learn from them, and that's the way you should do that. I mean,
you'll never invent the right thing until you break something first.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to take a risk every once in a while, and if it works, great. If not, learn from it, adjust.
There you go.
We're trying to build the machine, and the machine breaks sometimes.
Yeah,
it's just how it works. So that's very cool, man. Well, how can people find out about Wow One Day Painting? How can they get in touch with you?
So there are multiple ways they can go. I mean, they can go online to wowoneday.com. And it'll prompt you through everything. If you want to set up an estimate, you can either do it online. You can call our sales center in Vancouver. The easiest way is to go online. You simply go to wowoneday.com. It'll prompt you, if you want painting done, prompt you for your zip code. You punch in your zip code. It'll automatically take you to whoever owns that zip code, one of our calendars. And you can plug yourself in wherever is convenient for you on a calendar.
Sounds like a beautiful piece of software. I'm gonna go look at it.
It's really, I mean, it's pretty.
Because that's that's my dream in life, is to build that. Basically,
yeah.
It's an award-winning platform, from what I hear.
Maybe they license it. I want one.
I get probably.
I want it.
Or simply if if they can call me, it's fine too. So
send a carrier pigeon.
They can send a carrier pigeon, smoke signals, whatever you want. But no, it's very easy to get a hold of me or any of us, various different routes, and I think it's very easy for the customer. If they want an appointment set up, they can do it all themselves. They can call me. It's just there's really should be no barriers to that.
Yeah, if you need some paint on the wall.
Yeah.
Call Mike. Yeah.
Exactly.
Sounds great. Well, we appreciate you being here. Really do.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
This is the Purpose Podcast. Adam, welcome back. Super excited.
Thank you. I'm so grateful
Hopefully you
for
can
you guys.
extend this run a little bit.
Absolutely.
For anybody looking to listen or watch, we are on YouTube at Purpose Podcast Raleigh. You can find us on Spotify and iTunes. Please subscribe at Purpose Podcast Raleigh. Purpose Podcast Raleigh is what you would search. This has been the Purpose Podcast. I'm Gordon. It's Adam. This is Mike. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.